Welcome back to Poetry Lockdown. We're at day 129. So I want to give a big shout out to Miriam Para, who jumped right in for two guest Poetry Lockdowns. Really a delight to see both of yours, Miriam, and just want to extend the invite to anybody else out there who's interested in jumping on in. It's really fun to see what you choose, and then the way you read and interpret these poems. And I want to kind of extend the conversation of poetry in response to Miriam's last choices into this one. So one of the things I really liked about Miriam's choices is she's chosen really classic poems from previous eras, and then just read them in really fresh and interesting ways from her own perspective. And I think that's something that, as I look at the selections I've made over the last 129 days, a lot of them are contemporary, even, poets that are still alive today. And I'm excited about contemporary poetry, but I also think it's important to think about poetry as a conversation with people that are with our past, with history. And today's poet, William Blake, is, I think, just a terrific poet for all times, but definitely for our own. Blake, I mean, I don't. People probably know a little bit about him. The last poet that Miriam chose, Lord Byron, lived around the same time period, in the Romantic era, 18th and early 19th century. Blake's poetry was not really well known when he was alive. He was a great visual artist as well as a poet. And he has some just incredible paintings and engravings and things like that. And I'll put in the comment box just a little image of this poem, The Poison Tree. And he just a one-of-a-kind poet. And I would just call him a visionary. He kind of creates these mythic moments. And in some ways, like, I really see him as just kind of like a prophetic voice. And I think you'll see what I mean from this poem. So with that little intro, let me just jump right in here. A Poison Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath. My wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sunned it with smiles and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright, and my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning, glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Whoa, that ending, it always gets me. So a really powerful poem. One of the things that I said just before I read the poem is Blake has this kind of mythic quality about many of his poems. And I see this poem, it almost reads like a parable to me. So I think I've mentioned many times on this video series, I'm a Catholic, and part of when you kind of go to church, or virtually go to church now, or whatever you do to observe the Sunday Mass service, there is a liturgy of the Word. The last couple of Gospels from the Sunday Masses have been about Jesus talking about the sower and the seed, and what good soil looks like, and how you bear fruit as a follower of Jesus. And this was really interesting to me because it's kind of like the I don't know, the devilish version of this, I guess you'd say. Like, how do you create a fruit of wrath and anger, and ultimately the fruit of murder at the end of this poem? And it seems to me the insight Blake has is the lack of candor, the deception, is really the key. That's where it starts, because we look at the very beginning of the poem. The first couplet is just beautiful in its simplicity. I was angry with my friend. That happens, right? People upset us. But I told my wrath, and my wrath did end. So that act of honesty, of really being willing to enter into conversation and encounter another person, even when you're upset with them, right? That can diffuse the anger. But notice it's the exact opposite with the foe, and it's duplicity all the way through to the end of the poem up till the act of murder, which you don't really see. It's represented symbolically with like eating of this anger fruit. Um, so that really impressed me and struck me. And I was also struck by the fact that throughout this poem, the poet speaking in the past tense about these things, I told, and then at the end, we are in the present tense, and I think that's part of what makes this poem so chilling. He says, "When the night had veiled the pole, in the morning glad, I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree." So where the poetic speaker is right now is right in the moment of having killed his foe, and apparently the speaker has at this moment not regrets. He's glad, um, and that is disturbing. Um, and yeah, in terms of like just a parable for our moment, it seems to me like I look in our public discourse, I look on social media, and it really does seem to be an age of vengeance, an age of recrimination. And part of that might be that we're struggling to actually encounter each other in conversation, and we're kind of blowing up with each other online. And so that's my message. I mean, a million people could read this poem a million different ways, but it seems to me uh, Blake has a message, kind of a warning, in my view, to really encounter each other. Sometimes encounter each other's anger and wrath honestly. Um, Rather than blow up duplicitously, which I think is happening a lot. So that's my 2 cents, my poetic 2 cents on a poison tree. Um, Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.